Hello, thank you for tuning into my channel. This is my Finish It Friday video for Friday, May 10th, 2024. So if you want to see what I've been working on this week, please stay tuned. I'm very excited to share what I've been working on this week. I have, before we start the new stuff, I never really shared my last Jacob's Ladder block for my Leader Ender project. This is one that I worked on as I was doing the Scrappy Bricks quilt and then a few other projects. This is the most recent block that I finished. I finished 4 Jacob's Ladder blocks. They're right over there total. This is the 4th one. And then I started another one. This block, you can see the 4 patches started right there. It's going to be more monochromatic. So I'm interested to see what that looks like. And I'm just making a variety of different blocks for this project using 2.5-inch squares, 5-inch squares. What I'm doing is keeping the background constant. So this gray paisley is going to be the background for all of the blocks. And that is a piece of fabric that I purchased as a 108. So it's leftover fabric from quilt backings. And I think I have enough of it to get the blocks that I want, which is a total of 30 blocks. These blocks should finish at about 12.5 inches. So hopefully when I'm done, I will have a quilt that is about 60 inches by about 72 inches, but we'll see. It is a Leader Ender project, so these blocks are coming along slowly as I work on other things, but so far so good. I'm pretty happy with them. Maybe at the end, I'll show you some other blocks that I made that had a different background. But for now, these, I'm trying to work on blocks that have pretty high contrast compared to the background. So good project, simple, and it's a great Leader Ender. Now I have, I'm grateful, I'm excited that I get to share projects that are sort of spread all the way around my sewing room. We can start here on the design wall. I started working on the Type It quilt. Let me see if I can find the pattern. Let's see. Since everything is on my table, the pattern is under the project pieces. But I have it right here. This is a, it says Moda and Zen sheet. This is a pattern that I'm working on for a graduation quilt. And I have started putting it up on the design wall. This is a block that is very, not a block, a quilt top that I think is going to be really simple to put together. There is a lot of sewing because it's these long strips, but not too hard to put together. So I've started that process here of laying everything out. The other stuff is literally in a pile on the table right over there. And so when I'm done filming and uploading, I'll be working on that quilt and another project that I'm going to share in just a minute. The goal of this quilt is for it to be a signature quilt. So when we have the graduation party in a couple weeks, people will be able to sign these center strips, the neutral strips, and then I'll bring it back home and quilt it and then take it back down there to her before she starts college. I'm excited about this, and my favorite part, I think, is that I completely shot my stash for all of these fabrics. I have backing fabric that I purchased, not necessarily for this project, but both of the pieces that I'm thinking about will fit this project. So we'll just see what happens and how we can work this out. These are the red strips, but there are also some black strips and some gray strips that are coming up here as well. And I am documenting this, this top for YouTube. So the video should be up pretty soon after I'm done with the quilt top. Really fun, really exciting. I love it. Now we're going to go upstairs because I have one big finish that I want to share, and then we'll come down here and then we'll go back upstairs. So hold on. This is my coin quilt. It is finally finished. I finished the binding and I went ahead and put the label on it. and it's already been washed and everything. So this quilt is completely finished. I can cross it off of my list. I will be honest, in my opinion, every quilt that I finish is my favorite quilt. But this quilt, there is just something extra special about it. And I really, really, really love it. Let's zoom in a little bit on the quilting and on the fabrics. So these fabrics were gifted to me by a member of a quilt guild when I was in the guild. She cut all of these fabrics from her stash into 2.5-inch strips and gave them to me. Mostly 2.5-inch strips. I see some that might not be, but they may have also been like cut, and that's okay. But like, she gave me all of this fabric. None of these pieces were out of my stash, I don't think. But she gave me all of these 2.5-inch strips. I stitched them together into long rows, and then I added the sashing and borders. If you have not seen those videos, I'll link them here in the iCard, where you can see me preparing the coin blocks and then choosing a sashing. It was a great fun process, and the quilt top turned out wonderful. And I think I finished the quilt top a couple years ago, and I just kind of put it in the in one of my shoe boxes. Oh, we didn't zoom in on the quilting. Let's see the quilting. So the pattern that I used is called African Samba, and I got it from Urban Elements, and it's a really cool looking pattern. Hopefully you can see it there. So I took the leftovers from the quilt top and I made the backing of this. And I know that I've shown this quilt several times on my channel, especially recently as I've been working on the binding, but to me, it's just so striking. So here's the back, and I won't open it all the way out just for the sake of time, but I took those pieces and I bordered them with a gray fabric. This gray was one of my my sashing choices, and I decided to put it on the back of the quilt to frame out these pieces. And then I used more of this purple fabric to border this whole thing out. And the back is improv pieced. The front is just the coin setting, but the back is improv pieced, and it just looks so great. I'm so happy with it. And I'm calling this quilt the Rich Heritage Quilt. Oh, you can really see the quilting in the gray right in here. So I'm calling this the Rich Heritage Quilt. And there's a couple of reasons. One, because it's a coin quilt. And so that's like rich, because it has a lot of coins on it. But also because just in thinking about my quilt history, I am a 4th generation sewer quilter. I have 2 great grandmothers were quilters. My grandmother, my mom's mom, was a quilter. My mom has made quilts, so I consider her a quilter and sewer, and now me. So I'm the 4th generation. And so I think that this quilt is a part of my rich heritage of quilting. So I'm just really excited. And this quilt is just so gorgeous. I will say, though, that I washed it by itself with the color catchers, and it turned 2 color catchers really bright purpley pink. So I'm glad I washed it by itself. But anyway, this is the coin quilt. The binding is completely done. Super excited to get it crossed off the list. And I hope that you've enjoyed the process of making and sharing this quilt. Another project that I have here this is on my long arm right now. I have my Scrappy Bricks quilt here, and I want to get it quilted hopefully very soon. I went ahead and starched the backing fabric. It's here, it's ready. You can see those classic cars coming through on the wrong side of the fabric. And this is 4 yards of fabric that I'm going to have to cut down and stitch together to get my full piece that I'm going to need for this backing. And then I will piece a batting for this, and then I'm going to show you the quilt pattern that I want to use. While we're going that way, we'll just take a look at the rest of the type it pieces that are on the table. And I'm kind of looking at my sewing area. It needs a little work, but we'll do that later. So the pattern that I've chosen to quilt this, let me see. It's called ATV. And I actually printed out the pattern here myself. And so that's going to be a new adventure that we get to explore. It's in 3 pages, and it has a 4-wheeler and a motorcycle. Maybe not, maybe 2 4-wheelers on here. The baby who's getting this, he's not a baby, he's almost 2. But the kid who's getting this, dad and grandpa are car people, mechanic people, and they love ATVs. So I'm excited to try this out. I'm going to document this as well on YouTube. I've never worked with a pattern that I printed myself. Normally I have them send me the pantograph, so we'll get to explore this together, and you'll get to see me work on my long arm. So that's another project that we have going. When it comes to upcoming projects, as I'm kind of thinking about what I want to do in the summer, I had this idea this past week while we were doing our school-wide testing, and I was literally just walking around the room as the kids were testing, and I usually get some really great ideas that way. This was one of the ideas that I got. I thought about this, these blocks. These are from the Starlight Star Bright quilt along that we did in, I don't remember what year, 2020 or 2021. And I will link the playlist for all of these blocks. There are 9 total blocks that we did from the Block a Day book. I pulled some inspiration from that book to create these blocks. And I was thinking about how to set them. And as I was going through my UFOs one time, I was just looking through everything I had, and I have this panel that was pieced by my grandma. So this is one of her vintage pieces that she had created. And I realized that it's the same colors as these blocks. So I'm going to lay it out right here so that you can see it. For the most part, it's these same colors. And if you've been following my channel, I have completed several of quilts that my grandma started. I've done, well, several is like 2. I did 2. One of them was a big top that I finished, and then the other one was the polyester quilt that I pieced, that I used as a double-sided quilt. So when I looked at this and I saw that these are the same colors, I was trying to kind of think how to combine them. And I do have an idea that I'm going to be working on hopefully this summer. And that is to take this panel and use it to sash these blocks. There's a little bit more involved than that, but that's the basic principle, using this panel and kind of cutting it down into strips and putting it as like a center sashing. So the sashing will be pieced, and then these parts will be in the center of that sashing. So it's like my grandma's quilt and my blocks kind of coming together. And I think that's going to be a really nice project. Hopefully I can get it started pretty soon after I get the other things that I'm working on kind of off the table. I got to kind of clear my table a little bit, but this is definitely something I'm looking into. I love these colors. I love the fact of using grandma's panel to put this quilt together. I think it's just going to be great and work out beautifully. So that is one of my definite summer projects. So I hope that you'll join me as we get started on this pretty soon. I hope that you've enjoyed this sort of tour around my sewing room. And I'm really looking forward to working on these projects. Let me know in the comments what you're working on, what you're excited about. I am really, this quilt is really intriguing to me. I can't wait to see what it looks like and figure out the layout and all that. And then I'm excited to try that new quilting pattern on the long arm and prepare it and work out all those little kinks and see how that works out. And then I think that working on the Starlight Star Bright is going to be an amazing challenge as well. I also I have not worked on my great grandmother's quilt top that I'm repairing by hand. I haven't worked on that in a while, so that's going to be coming up soon as well. And I hope that you have a great week. If you have any questions about what you've seen in this video, leave them in the comments below. Thumbs up this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.